This video is brought to you by Aura. How's it going, men? Yeah, I'm not talking to you boys out there, I'm talking to you men. If you're watching this video, it means you seek out only the finest of art. You're on the mission to find the best cinema has to offer. So that's right, we're talking about Minions: The Rise of Gru. Ever since my Illumination video, the video where I watched every Illumination movie, I've been on the edge of my seat for the next Minions adventure. And by that I mean, I hate the Minions. I despise them. That video ruined me. It was one of the most mentally draining things I've ever done for this channel, and now that we've been blessed with another one, I couldn't resist. And I have some just absolutely insane news. I didn't hate it. Some would even argue I kind of enjoyed this movie. What? You? Yeah, me. I recently got alerted by Aura that one of my passwords was found on the dark web, and this movie helped me forget all about that. And I only knew that happened because of this week's sponsor, Aura. You've heard me talk about Aura before. It's the app I use to help protect me from scammers, spammers, and hackers. What are you doing to protect yourself? If the answer is nothing, I highly recommend you check out Aura. Here's how it works. Aura continuously monitors the dark web looking for your emails, passwords, and social security numbers, and sends alerts fast to your phone or email when they find anything. Aura also gives you near real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries, like if someone's trying to open up a loan or a credit card in your name. They automatically send requests on your behalf to data brokers to help remove your information, helping to reduce the amount of spam and robocalls you receive. Their VPN allows you to stay anonymous online by keeping your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. And they have an antivirus software that will block malware and viruses before they infect your devices. Identity theft is so common that there's a new victim every 14 seconds, and it costs the average victim over $1,000. Do you know how many victims there have been just in the time it's taken me to record this video? Protect your family and yourself from identity theft at aura.com/Karsten, also linked in the description. And if you sign up right now, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial with my link so that you can see for yourself how many times Aura finds you or your family's personal information on the dark web. And if you do sign up, let me know in the comments if your information has been compromised. You will not regret checking. Minions: The Rise of Gru is about, well, the rise of Gru. It takes place in the 70s, so yeah, you can say I'm into old cinema. Basically, the Minions and Gru are on the run from the Vicious Six, a group of supervillains that Gru has always wanted to be a part of. Gru auditioned for them and in the process left with some prized possessions, so now they're chasing after him, and in the process of that he gets kidnapped by Mr. Knuckles, a former member of the Vicious Six who got kicked out because he was old. It is a ridiculously convoluted route that they choose to take just so we can see the Minions nearly crash a plane and kill a bunch of passengers. The core issue with this movie for me is right there. No, not the convoluted plot. Honestly, the more absurdly plotted this thing was, the sillier it got. No, my issue with the movie is Gru. I don't like Gru. I'm sorry. Gru is annoying, and even as a kid, I find him just so boring compared to my boys over there. I think Gru in the Despicable Me movies actually works a lot better alongside the Minions because this grown man interacting with all these little freaks is way sillier to watch than a little guy interacting with other little guys, especially when the main little guy is so boring. I don't care that he wants to be a part of this villainous group. Things work out for Gru in that department. We know this. I want to see him get bullied or something. I want someone to kick Gru. I want to see Gru go through hell and back. I think part of why Gru got kind of old immediately is the voice. All love to Steve Carell, but the Kid Gru voice was just immediately bad. Literally the first time he spoke in that voice, I was like, oh brother, this is gonna be a long one. And then the Minions start talking and you're like, whoa! That's what I'm talking about. If this movie wanted to be better, it needed to study from the greats, like Garfield. In Garfield the cat is the star of the show. Much of the film is focused on him and his shenanigans. John is put to the side because nobody cares about John. And sure, it's called The Rise of Gru, but if you're gonna do that, at least make Gru's rise less passive and more diabolical. Go full Joker with it. Instead, you leave us, the audience, waiting for the next time the Minions will show up on screen. And I know this sounds like a bit, but I'm serious. I wanted to watch the Minions. And when you do get to watch them, oh boy, maybe this is what coming of age is, but I've really grown to not hate the Minions over the years. There's something about them that I just appreciate, even if they're most of the time not funny and extremely annoying. Rather than immediately brushing them off as lazy and annoying, I've started reframing them as just a new iconic figure for slapstick comedy. They clearly work for a lot of people, not just kids, and while it may not be my thing, it's worth trying to understand why they're so popular. And when I went into this with an open mind as opposed to immediately assuming I would hate it, which is the way I went into the Minions movie at the time of making that old video, I ended up seeing what everyone else sees. It is kind of miraculous how much the writers of this film are able to get out of such a simple little character. The gags are simple. Bob or whoever the fuck gets flushed down the airplane toilet, great. Now his butt is exposed, fantastic. That's funny. That makes me chuckle. The Minions are chickens now. In the final climactic boss battle, oh, well this ought to be good. And it is. Dumb? Oh, absolutely. But good cheap fun doesn't make it bad. I really don't like giving movies credit for encouraging me to turn my brain off. I don't like describing movies like that in general. I think films can be entertaining while still challenging the audience. If you're so entertained that you're not thinking about everything else around you, your brain isn't necessarily off, it's engaged in the plot and the characters. You're just caught up in the stakes. I think all art should encourage analysis, no matter how simple or on the surface. Movies that aim to simply turn your brain off and consume the slop most of the time fall flat and don't leave any lasting impact on the viewer. Those aren't good movies. But a movie that can do this right, a movie that is actually respectable in just how dumb it is, and makes the time you spent watching it feel genuinely joyous and so absurd that you truly forgot about the shittiness happening out there for just over an hour, those movies serve a purpose. Minions: The Rise of Gru is a genuinely good example of this. The slapstick is well done, the comedic timing is fast and effective. Even if it isn't your sense of humor, you can't deny there is a skill to getting this style right. I don't know if the world is just so bad in comparison to this movie, but this was kind of a good time. The proof is in the other Despicable Me and Minions movies, most of which come off extremely boring because they don't utilize the humor in the same ways. The Minions don't get caught in everyday situations where they can't seem to do things the right ways. They're stuck in a boring Gru story. And to be fair, they are kind of stuck in a boring Gru story here as well, but I feel like they actually get the opportunities to break off from that and get into their own shenanigans more than I'm used to. Now, all of that said, there is one glaring issue I have with this film that I have yet to mention, and it's one that shouldn't come as a surprise. On one hand, the fact that this feeds into short attention spans and acts essentially like candy for kids is, well, fun. It makes for a very entertaining time, and the way the filmmakers actually get to that effect is impressive and worth recognizing, as I've already said. I do not think that effect is ultimately good for kids. I have and still do believe movies targeted towards children should keep the kids in consideration, and there is something upsetting about kids growing up watching Minions movies and not having the patience to watch something more fulfilling. The same way I think kids watching only Marvel movies and thinking everything needs to be a multiverse of different characters is ultimately bad for how they'll consume art throughout their lives. I'm obviously not against you taking your kids to see this movie. It's a fun summer movie that'll keep them entertained the entire time. But it's nothing more than that, and this hyper, fast-paced, sugary style cannot be the only thing kids should have the patience to sit through. What I'm trying to say is that if it's playing near you and you have a child, please consider taking them to see Marcel the Shell with Shoes On as well, because that's a really good movie that's out, and I think the kids might like it. But back to the Minions. I am kind of amazed that I am currently making a positive video for this movie. I think the Minions can either be extremely annoying or pretty entertaining to watch, and this film manages to land in the latter miraculously, because we're working with an absurd, messy plot where really nothing makes a whole lot of sense, and the Minions are given goals that they need to achieve, and that makes their presence feel a hell of a lot less redundant. The animation isn't even that bad. It's not anything near a Pixar film, but it certainly pops in a way that's nice to look at. I do think the soundtrack makes no sense. Don't know what the hell is going on there. They're just glad they all got a nice check. But yeah, I didn't hate this. I didn't love it, but I think it's a completely solid movie with well-executed gags and poppy animation. I'm so close to saying it was better than Lightyear, but I do not have the balls to pull that off yet. And that's... Those are my thoughts on Minions. So thanks for watching. Go watch Minions: Rise of Gru and form your own opinion, and I'll see you in the next one.